Hello, welcome to another video about the CleaveTech tyre trimmer for your hoodie tyre truer. This video follows on from the last video where I went through how to fit it and how to use it. This video is all about the information I need to know if you want a custom size tyre trimmer. If you haven't seen the first video, I'm going to put a link on the screen up here now. Go and take a look at that first and then come back, and if you're not happy with those, then you might want a custom size tyre trimmer. So if you feel that the standard sizes don't meet your needs, then I'll need to know some particular sizes for the types of tyres and wheels that you are using. One of those key sizes is your raw donut size. So I need to know the size of the donut you are starting with. You can give me the diameter of the donut in millimeters or inches, I don't mind, but this donut here, quite a common size of donut, is around just over 21 millimeters. Comes out at 830, but I know some people are running 850 tyres when they're actually at their finished size, or even larger. I've even had people tell me they're starting off with donuts that are like nearly 1.2 inches in diameter. Therefore, I need to know that. That's important because imagine your donut sitting here on your hub. If this distance here isn't big enough to clear your donut, then you're not going to be able to use the tyre trimmer. So this area here will need to be higher. So once you've given me the size of the donut, I can then customize this distance here from axle to the clearance here for your donut. Another size I need to know can depend on what type of hubs you're going to be using with your tyre trimmer. This type of hub here is not a full length hub. You notice it's got a boss that's turned down on one end. Now when that sits onto the tyre trimming axle like that, it's okay if your tyre went the full width of the hub and actually hung off the end of this part here where it's turned down. Can you imagine the knife coming down in this first slot here? Then it would trim it fine. But if your tyre, when it's finished, you want it to finish beyond this boss and you wanted it to only take up the larger diameter bit of the hub, then probably your first cut of your tyre would need to be over here somewhere rather than where the slot currently is. The slot currently lines up with the end of your little boss here on the axle on your tyre trimmer, on the tyre truer itself. So if you slide a hub on and you slice the inside part of your donut away, it will line up with there. But as I said, if you've got hubs that have bosses that you want to stick out and you want to trim the tyre to this part of the hub rather than sticking out over the end, then I'll need to know what is the distance you need from the end of your hoodie boss to where you want the first trim to start. So what's the distance basically of the boss on your hubs? Easy way to measure it with your caliper. You can slide your calipers out and you can use the depth part on the bottom here of your caliper. You can slide it in like that. Oops, holding it in front of the camera is not always the best. So you can hold it like that and then you can tell me that distance there, where you can hold it in the camera angle there. So you're going to tell me how much further you need the first cut to be in order to match up with where you're going to put your hubs onto your tyre trimmer. So once you've told me any extra distance you need between the end of the boss and the start of the first cut, you'll then need to tell me what width of tyre do you want your tyre trimmer to trim to. So imagine that slot there is your 0 slot. So if you've told me that's going to be in a different place and it'll be moved over here, that's still your 0 slot. So how wide from that slot there, from that first cut, do you want your tyres to be trimmed? So what's the distance from basically the inside edge of your tyre to the outside edge of your tyre? I will allow a fraction more to make sure that you've got enough just to sand down the edges of your tyre slightly. So if you give me the exact finishing sizes of your tyre, I will make sure that your two cuts work well and give you a small amount of rubber just to finish off on both the inside and the outside edges. If you want multiple widths, that is possible, but there needs to be a reasonable distance in between each one of the cuts. You can't expect a cut that's maybe 1mm wide for a knife blade to be right next to another 1mm wide cut with nothing supporting the blade in between. So if your widths are really, really close together, then I may need to put slots on the reverse side of the tyre trimmer. So in effect, you're going to slide your knife down the back of your tyre trimmer if you've got slots that are really close together. So you might very well have one slot here, and then the next slot might be really, really close for a slightly narrower tyre. But if I turn my knife blade round and there was a slot on the back of the tyre trimmer here that you could put your knife through, then that could be much closer to here. But you would have to obviously change the rotation of your hub in order to match the position of your knife, whether it was at the front or the rear. The last dimension I need to know is your overall size that you want to rough your donut to. So if this donut was in here and you move the spike across, what would be the size that you want your donut roughed to allow you to gently sand your finished or your roughed donut down to its finished size, so your race size. You want to allow about 20/1000 of an inch of sanding to bring it down to race size to get rid of any roughness that might have occurred when you've sliced through your donut and roughed it down to size. So to summarize all those sizes again, I need to know the raw size of your donut, the raw diameter that you're starting with. I also need to know your roughing diameter. So what diameter do you want your donut to be roughed down to, allowing 20 thou extra for some final sanding and smoothing down. I also need to know the starting position, so the first cut you want to make, whether it be 0 as it is in this version, or whether it be moved so many millimeters or so many inches across. So where's your first cut? And then I need to know from that first cut, where are all your widths of tyre that you wish to trim to? So what's the first width, second width, etc. that you need to trim to? So if you can tell me those sizes, I can probably make you a custom tyre trimmer to suit you. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.